Hey everybody, welcome back from Classic Work. I'm your host Ethan Ewing, and today we're going to talking about wood burning. I have this beautiful mantel here that I've been working on for the last, well, to be honest, about 6 months, and it's got pushed to the side and stuff like that. But what we're going to do is, I've got a customer that wants to have a Bible verse burned into the front half of this mantel. It's also going to have 2 crosses either end of it. And I'm going to show you how to do the layout and how to take a picture and put it to this face here and burn it exactly the way the picture, describes every detail. So let's take a look at it. Okay, this right here is what my customer wanted for the scripture, and what I did was on the computer I took it and I made the font really big, and I took a style that looked very kind of Hebrew looking, and what I did was I blew it up real big so that you could see it in the face of the mantel, and I scribed 2 parallel lines to each other, and then I marked their centers. Now you got to do this on every one of them, so whenever you cut these out, it doesn't matter how lopsided you cut your paper, as long as you've got this center mark, you can line each of them up on a center line. I don't know if you can see that too well, that you have to scribe into the wood. Now it's very faint, so I could sand it out, but you can kind of see it all the way down. That way, when you take your paper, take that center mark and line it up on your line on your face, everything will be nice and straight. One thing that you do want to do is mark you a center line from each corner out, and you'll start your layout from here out. That way, if you won't have anything that looks crooked. You may not see it up close, but from a distance it'll really show up. So, and also, this right here is the cross I drew by freehand, and I took this to our printer and scanned it, and I got it shrank down to a manageable size that we can burn, and that right there will go directly to each end. So let's look at how all this is going to lay out so we can set up to burn. Alright, we've cut out the lettering, and we've got all of our parallel lines lined up. The blue tape's covering up this one, but it's a good reference point to go all the way down with it. And we've got all of our center marks lined up. So the next thing that you'll need to do is center it. You'll take your tape and draw it into the first letter, and then take it from over here to your next letter or number. Now then, once you've got all that done and you've got your center marks on your line, if you can see it, that line's very faint. Go ahead and make you a mark up at the top half and the bottom half of your tape in case something gets out of alignment. You can go back to it and put it straight back down. You won't have to do a bunch of measuring and stuff like that. But once you have it in this position, then we can start tracing it and transferring it to the board. So let's take a look at that. Okay, we're going to start on the cross on this one, and I've already measured back from our corner, which is that way, back off. We've come in about 3 inches from the outside edge. Now the next thing that you want to do is get you some what's known as carbon paper, and it's this here is really good stuff. It's real good for transferring marks from a picture to just about anything. So what you want to do is take the shiny side, which is this side, this is the dull side, take the shiny side and put it face up and put it right up under your picture or whatever it is that you're going to trace. Next, take you a really sharp pencil and just trace the lines. It's easy as that. But what you're going to do is that impression that the pencil makes will press into that carbon paper, and it'll leave the exact same trace on the wood itself or whatever material that you're having to trace on. Now this here is just a, you don't have to be exact with this, you just have to be close, something that you can follow with your wood burner. And it just takes a few minutes and you just go around and trace everything. This is going to take me a few minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and finish it up. Okay, whenever you get done, you can just lift up your paper and it leaves you an exact copy of what you just did. Now there might be a few little places, like I see one in here where it didn't connect. Just go in there with your regular pencil and be sure they all connect and you got a good line to follow. But that's pretty amazing. You can go one for one. Oh, I forgot a part of the H there, if you see that. Go ahead and fix that now. There we go. And any of the details that you need in the actual picture, you can just put them up in front of you and, you know, read it correspondingly to burn it. And that's pretty much it. Man, I forgot another line. I was getting in a hurry. That's the great thing about taping it down, because it'll go back exactly to where it was. So if you think you've missed a spot, don't take your paper off until you've checked everything. Alright, just got to do one more on the other side, and then we got to do the letters. Okay, and the same thing we're going to do with the letters here. For this one, you're going to need an extremely sharp pencil to follow every little trace of these lines. Now, you can use mechanical pencil like I've got, or you can sharpen one about every word or so, pretty much is what it's going to have to take. But just take your time, and this is the exact same thing like we did on the cross. Just follow the outside of that line the best you can. You know, if you get off a little bit or so, it's okay, as long as you can kind of follow the trace best you can with your tool. So this is going to take a good little while, and I'm going to go ahead and trace all this down. Alright, when you get done tracing, just go ahead and peel it up. And behold your good work. There she is. Now we're ready to get started burning. Alright, now we're finally going to do some wood burning. Alright, so our main focus is going to be in this word, want. Now, the trick to be a really good wood burner is to be very comfortable. You know, put the work where you want it. You know, have music playing. You know, take your shoes off, whatever it takes to get comfortable. Because this is a very slow and tedious job. You know, it takes a lot of patience, and you've got to be really careful with it. But it's really, really simple. Once you get your first couple of lines down, it'll be nothing to it. And I do recommend taking a scrap piece and drawing something on it so that you can get used to it. Now, my wood burner, this ain't nothing but a soldering iron, if anybody's wondering, is and it's pretty basic too. But I've got a real fine tip here on my wood burner. It's really good for making fine lines, and that's what we want to concentrate on. So let's get started into this. You don't have to start on any particular letter. I'm gonna start with the W since it's closest to me. So all you got to do is just pick you a spot on your line and just drag it down. Nice and easy. And if there's any welders out there, you ought to be really good at this, because a lot of the same principles you use in welding, especially stick welding, is in this. You just got to be real clean, and you got to be real decisive. I mean, you can't go in there thinking that you're not going to do good. You got to go in there knowing that whatever line you put down is going to be the right one. And it goes by pretty quick. I mean, it's at first you're a little bit sketchy, but once you get into it, it's nothing. I remember I was watching a video one time on a guy that he was doing manga drawings, the kind of live animation kind of deal, and the same art that he used to describe how he drew so well. He drew all of his stuff free-handed, and he said you need to have so much confidence in every line because that's the detail that makes a picture beautiful. So it's the same with any art. You have to be 100% into it, 100% focused. Alright, we just wrapped that W up there for want. And we're not going to do any shading on it yet. We're going to do it a little bit later. And the rest is just that simple. I mean, there's not that much to wood burning. I mean, you can get into some big fancy words and detail and stuff like that, but you use the tool how comfortable you want to use it and just be real smooth with it. That's the key to life, to everything, is being smooth. And one good thing about this tool here, since it's got this big kind of, it's about a 30-degree angle on it, you can see how I just kind of bent that curve around there on that A. You can do that with just about any shape. You can almost write in cursive with a wood burner. And don't plunge too hard, let the tool do the work. And that's pretty much all you need to know to wood burning. Well, I'm going to finish this up and then we'll come back and we'll talk some more about shading. Alright, we're going to talk a little bit about shading now. Now, I've decided on the words themselves we're not going to do any shading on them, and I'll show you why in just a minute. But we're going to, on both ends of the crosses, we're going to do some shading. And we're going to try to make this cross look almost three-dimensional. So that's the key with shading. If there's any people out there that draw with pencil or with charcoal, y'all know all about shading, making everything distant, making it appear different than you would just have two-dimensional lines. Alright, we've changed gears on the wood burner here. If you can tell, I've got a different tip on here. It's a big old wide tip, and it's real good for laying down sideways to get this shading in. Now, there's a couple different types of shading. You can kind of rub it back and forth across your line, and it'll give you kind of a staggered look, or you can just put one whole face on there and drag it down, and that'll give you a more full approach. But the one I'm going to do is kind of a combination of both of them. We're just going to concentrate on the tip of this iron and just kind of feather it back and forth. And what we're going to do is on all these lines here, we're going to just kind of drag the shade heavy on this line and then lighter towards the center of the cross. Try to give it a real three-dimensional look. For the IHS, to tell you the truth, I wouldn't touch any of that. The less that you leave it, the more detail it'll show, especially at a distance. If it looks good up close, it'll look great at a distance. So let's jump right into this and go ahead and start shading in this cross. You see, it doesn't take very much. Once that iron gets good and hot, you can just really put it on there. Okay, and that's all it really takes. You can be a little bit more gradual with your burning. You can go a lot further in the center, or you can do not as much. But I like to leave it a little bit staggered look like that because it makes it look a little more rustic to me. And the less that you do to it, the more that it'll come. Also, that heat will actually go in towards the center even if your tool is not touching it. You can see how much browner it is right here than it is here. And that's because that heat is traveling through that tool, through the wood, a lot further than you think it is. So gradually go from the ends to the inside. You don't have to touch it very much. Just whatever you think looks good to you will look good to everybody else. Trust me on that one. Sometimes you gotta kind of get at it at different angles. And there you go. It's that simple. All right, I'm gonna finish this up and then we'll come back and take a recap of how it's gonna look. All right, here's the finished project. I chose to leave the letters hollow like they are because I really like that look, especially from a distance. But you can easily shade the whole letters in, or you could shade them like we did the crosses, just work from your outside in. It's all up to your choice in the end. But here's the one on the other side. I think it turned out really, really nice. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to ask them. I should be doing a lot more wood burning videos coming up pretty soon. It really, really is an easy art, and just about anybody can get into it. Other than that, this here's been a really good project and I've enjoyed it. As always, y'all take care. See you next time.